Hi everyone. This week on Anime Podcast we watched Hibike Euphonium episodes 8, 11, and 12.
Woo!
So I guess first, what do you guys think I think of this show?
I think it's a comfort show, but I don't know if you like it that much.
So
Yeah,
number.
I'm thinking. Let me think, Spooky. Fuck.
I know, it's fine.
6, 7,
5 or 6, yeah. I think you get your lesbians out, but you're like, yeah, alright, I'm good. It's in the background, whatever.
6. I'm going 6.
Okay. I give this a 9, and it's like a 9.5. Like, I really want to give it a 10, but like for consistency's sake, I can't bring myself to give it a 10. I give it a 9.5.
And you want to justify yourself?
I will as we talk about the show, because I have a lot to say. So.
Do I have to?
Yeah,
yes.
You do.
Okay. So we start on episode 8, and the Bechdel test has already been failed, because we have 3 girls talking about, like, a man and upcoming who they're going to take to a festival and shit. And they're like, I wasn't entirely paying attention because Spooky accidentally had the Crunchyroll player do some weird things, and I was like, ooh.
Crunchyroll was fucking up again. Interesting.
And they were talking about something, I don't know. Something about a carnival or a festival or something. Who knows? Then there's the intro. It's a bouncy intro, lots of visuals. Cool. We cut back and it's practice time. They're in a band, so it's some sort of music type anime. Cool. The whole band practice is doing it, and it turns out the Euphonium girl, who, this is going to get very convoluted with the naming conventions.
Kumiko, for those of you watching who know the show.
You can try and do that for every single one.
We go by instrument.
We call her Golden because she had the golden euphonium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kumiko.
So, she can't get the fingering right on a certain piece, and it's like, man, I can't do it. And everyone's like, do it. And she's like, I can't, I'm trying, and I want to do it, but I can't. Cool. Then we have more talk about going to a festival with a specific person. I believe contrabass girl wants to go with a trombone man.
Yes.
And there's an awkward moment
girl.
where, like, I thought it was, I don't fucking care. She wants to go with trombone man, and so trombone man goes to ask Euphonium girl, but Euphonium girl, like, panics and grabs the nearest person's arm and is like, I'm going with this person, and it turns out to be Trumpet Girl.
Reina.
We'll get back to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you should go with fucking Tuba Girl. And Trombone Guy's like, oh, okay, and Tuba Girl's like, yeah, go with me. Cool. And then Trumpet is like, looking at, like, not showing no emotion whatsoever. And we cut to the festival happening. Festival is going on, everyone's having fun. They're doing stuff. Things are happening. Euphonium, turns out, is actually just gonna go with the festival with Trumpet, because, like, it was like joking, like, oh, I didn't mean to, actually, okay, sure, let's go.
Yeah, Trumpet was just like, when and where are we meeting? And Kumiko's like, what? And Reina's like, we're going to the festival, right? And Kumiko's like, okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, if you want to. So she turns up with her euphonium. Why?
Reina told her to.
Okay. Turns up and she's like, Trumpet, why are we here? And she's like, we're climbing the mountain. She's like, with my fucking euphonium. Are you fucking kidding me? So they start climbing, and Trumpet's in a dress looking all lesbian. And then Golden's like, oh, I'm a lesbian. And so they walk up the mountain, and it's hard and heavy, and Trumpet takes the euphonium and Golden sees that she has blisters forming in the back of her feet because, carrying something heavy and walking that much is going to cause blisters. He's like, oh, wait, aren't you in pain? And Trumpet just goes, I am, but I don't hate pain. And then Golden just goes, that's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Which, I give that. That was pretty funny. Tuba then confesses to Trombone and he vomits because he sees her... he vomits because he sees her sock, shoelace, and shoe color combination.
Yes.
Which I believe was green socks,
No.
yellow... No.
Green shoelaces.
What was it, dear?
Green shoelaces, purple shoes, yellow socks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Fucking disgusting.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm gay. And she's like, oh, that's okay, I get it. Oh, she's like, I want to go out with him. And he just goes, I'm sorry. It's just like Tomodachi life. And we cut back to Trumpet, and Trumpet's like, hey, I'm in lesbians with you, Golden. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. We're starting on the confession, so we're not going to get, episodes and episodes of, them building up to saying, like, I'm in lesbians with you, or I have feelings for you. Spoiler, they say that every episode now.
They only said that 2 episodes.
Because they only talked
the
for
exact
2
same
episodes.
way Thank you for having my back, dear. Trumpet doesn't want to be fake and goes along about this whole thing about, I can't just go along with what others are doing, like what the hotness is. It just doesn't feel right. I gotta do my own thing and I don't feel like I'm a part of anything. And then she's just like, I'm in lesbians with you. Let's play music on the top of this mountain. And then they play music on the top of the mountain, and we cut back lesbianly. And we cut back to Tuba catching up with...
Bass.
Wait, who was she catching up with?
Bass.
So it was Contrabass. Okay. She was catching up with Contrabass Girl, and she's like, oh my god, how you doing? How'd it go? And she went, I'm fine. She's like, you're not fine. She's like, I'm not fine. And that was it.
I mean, there's also the credits. The fact that they were, like, playing over the credits was really nice.
I fucking love this. Okay, I will start by saying with this episode, I'm not a huge fan of the whole, like, romance stuff happening, and I mainly showed it for the Reina and Kumiko section of it.
Shocking.
Well, it's just kind of important to the show and, like, the relationship in general. I just felt like I kind of had... Oh, I don't know. Like I said, this is the first show where, like, I was literally like, I don't know how to pick 3 episodes of the show. I had no idea. And, I mean, I felt like any way I did it was, like, very unfulfilling. So, but I love them hiking up the mountain and stuff. This is, like, the first time they really have, like, a long period of time together in the show up until this point. Like, they have, like, moments where they, like, talk and stuff. There was, like, one episode before this where they had, like, a decently long scene together. But I love Reina being like, you're an awful person, but I like that about you. And she's like, you act like this good girl on the outside, and really you're, like, kind of cold, and I kind of just want to peel that good girl part of you off because I like it. You're different. And then, like, the whole thing with Reina just being like, I'm gonna be someone special is, like, I don't know, just really good. I really fucking love that shit. Which, I should say, Reina's dad is a professional trumpet player. You don't get that in this.
He's a professional trumpet.
Yeah, and we'll get to more of that after we talk about the next episode.
More than one episode? Whoa!
Yeah.
Haha, you have to talk about this one, dear.
Okay. Apparently there's a rumor that when we start off that Teacher played favorites. Trumpet also likes Teacher. Long-haired Trumpet specifically likes Teacher. Reina. And, the other short-haired Trumpet wants the solo. And, anyway.
Karen.
Yes. So, a Trumpet is practicing and Bo comes up and is like, wow, you're good. And then Teacher asks to hear all the trumpets on their own and just goes, stop fucking up, bro. and then cut to everyone at lunch, and it's hot, so we're gonna eat outside. But then Euphonium wants to go eat with the trumpets, blooshy blooshy, and she runs into the bow, and it's just weird, and she stops her very violently, asking her about how short-haired trumpet sounds, and Eupho goes to talk to trumpet.
It is long-haired trumpet.
Long-haired trumpet sounds, and Eupho goes to talk to trumpet and to have lunch with them, but she already ate. So she's like, it's okay, I didn't need to eat with you, it's fine, everything's fine. Bo is thinking to herself about how the fact that first years were being left out, something, yeah, and Ponytail comes up and whispers sweet nothing in Bo's ear about, like, I don't know. Cut the tuba and Eupho on the train talking about practicing more. While running home, Eupho runs into Trumpet at the river, the boy Trumpet, trying to get better. And Bo is calling Trumpet Longhair and talking about the audition. She's like, hey, can you basically, like, throw the audition for me, please? Like, I'll even say that I'm, like, bullying you and stuff. And because it's this short-haired girl's last year as trumpet player, that's why she wants to solo. And we're now at the audition hall. None of this matters because short-haired trumpet, whatever. We're at the audition hall. Trumpets just really need to get ready for the audition, and Eupho goes to talk to long-haired trumpet. Silver Eupho goes to talk to short-haired trumpet, but they're very, very busy, so they decide not to. Bo and short-haired trumpet are chatting about the audition, and Bo goes to help with the chairs, but then runs crying and lands on Ponytail, being like, ugh! But Silver isn't coming because she's busy. Why is short-haired trumpet obsessed with the fucking Silver? And I don't know, she just really wants to impress her? Long Trumpet has been sitting there and thinking about Eupho, and then Eupho runs up to talk to her, and she asks if she'd be upset if she lost, but she's like, a fucking course, you're great! You want to be special, right? And then they lean in super close, and they should just fucking kiss, but they fucking don't! And then they're like, I'm never gonna leave your side, and I love you, again. And then the audition is here, and based on it's based on applause, apparently, and it's absolutely bullshit, the popularity contest, but the anime is like, lol, we're actually doing this seriously and taking everything honestly.
We'll talk about that. I want to bring that up specifically. But anyway.
And some people clap at What's-Her-Face, but not everyone. But as soon as long-haired trumpet plays, everyone's like, whoa, poggers! And then he's like, okay, everyone clap who thinks short hair should play, and it's like 2 people. And then he's like, okay, who thinks that long-haired should play? And it's also like 2 people because they're just awkward about it. But then teacher's like, okay, and asks short-haired girl to play the solo, and she's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it. I'm not as good as her. And then Bo starts to fucking cry and freak out in the theater, like, holy shit. So now Longhair has the solo. Woohoo.
Oh, was Spooky?
Yes?
Was it made a popularity contest because the teacher was essentially going, look, if you think I'm playing fucking favorites, then you guys decide.
Yes. So basically what happened was, to a degree I should say, basically what happened was, and I should start this by saying, at this point in the show, everyone who's playing, like, practicing for competition are the ones that pass the auditions, taking it super seriously. Because at the beginning of the series, the teacher was like, what do you want to do? Do you just want to, like, have fun in concert band, or do you want to, like, aim for nationals? And then everyone was like, we want to aim for nationals. And he's like, it's going to make practice real fucking hard. Is that cool with you? Like, we're going to have to take it seriously. And they're like, yep. Which caused people to leave. Whatever, it was a whole thing. Anyway, they did, like, the auditions, and it was, like, one-on-one, and then they find out that Reina knew Taki-sensei prior to coming to the school. They've, like, known each other, like, since she was little, because his dad is a famous composer, her dad is a famous trumpet player. They know each other. So then people were like, well, Reina only got chosen because he knows her. Like, obviously, that's what happened here. Like, he knows her dad, like, you know, whatever. And it, like, causes, like, this big rift, right? Where, like, some people are like, well, if she's, like, some people are like, no, I don't think Taki-sensei's, like, really doing that, whatever, but the majority are like, no, that makes sense, like, of course the senior should do the solo, the senior has always done the solo in this school, why should this, like, first year do it? and he tries to like tell them like that's not what happened, and they like obviously don't believe him. They're like conflicted by it. So yeah, then he is like, well, wait, if they don't believe me for me telling them, they should just hear it. And that's why, like, everyone knows that Reina's better at the audition, but that's why, like, they look very hesitant to clap for her. It's because, like, the students have taken this stance of, like, we want the senior to do the solo, like, this whole time. And then it's like, oh, shit, we were proven wrong. And then when he offers the solo to the senior, even she is like, no, I can't take that. Like, I'm not as good as her. Which is a good lead up to, I don't know if you guys, like, because I pay so much attention to these fucking characters. Whenever Asuka, the silver euphonium, was hanging out with Trumpet Girl, and she's like, who do you think should play the audition, or who should play the solo, Asuka? And Asuka's like, I think whoever's better should play. And she's like, yeah, but like, who do you think that is? And Asuka's like, do you really want me to answer that? And it's like, I feel like it was kind of at that point that Kaori, like, kind of knew that it was like, well, shit. But she was like, I'm still gonna try. I want to, like, impress Asuka. I want to, like, surprise her. Because she always fucking knows this shit, and I want to, like, prove her wrong. And she doesn't, which is nice. I like it whenever they don't prove them wrong. So yeah, that was, like, a whole thing. There was also a whole thing with, like, Yuko and Kaori, Bo, and Short-Haired Trumpet. The whole thing with, like, she helped the first years, they're, like, the current second years. That was a whole thing that I'm not going to really get into. But all you really have to know about that is that, like, the people who had graduated last year and the freshmen, like, did not like each other. It caused a lot of the freshmen to quit. So there was, like, this, like, kind of big rift there where it's, like, the now second years are a weird mix of, like, people who really didn't care that much in the first place or people who, like, really cared, and there's not, like, really an in-between. And the current seniors are, like, we're, like, stuck in the middle of it, and Kaori was, like, one of the ones that, like, stuck up for them, which is why Yuko, like, holds her in such high regard. Whereas Asuka, like, for example, just kind of stayed neutral, and, like, the president, like, stood up. It was, like, a whole thing. So.
I like how Spooky's using their real names, and I'm just like, trumpet, trombone, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. I am so used to just calling them by their real names. But yeah, so. That was a whole thing. I really like the second confession here, by the way, because, I like their whole interaction. I like that this mirrors episode 8, which is why I chose to show 8 along with this one. With the whole Kumiko and Reina scene. Because a lot of the things Kumiko says are, like, things she wouldn't say the first time around. Like, she thought them. Like, the whole, like, I could die right now thing. Or whatever, you know? She, like, says that out loud this time. Which is kind of big for her character growth, right? Because Kumiko is the type of character who hides a lot of herself and just tries to seem like she's good, like, you know, a good girl on the outside. So, yeah, I don't know. I love that whole thing. I love the whole fucking, like, her repeating this is a confession of love after all to Reina. I love their dynamic, a lot. They're like, so gay without being gay. Which initially the author of the novel, like, said that she had planned to make them gay. And then she was like, no, I want to make them have a different relationship with just as strong feelings. Which is really interesting. I don't know. We can talk about
I would just call
later.
them gay.
But anyway. Yeah, but they're not.
I mean, like, the lip face touching thing, I'm just gonna call him gay. I'm sorry. I can't not.
A lot of people do. And I personally feel like Kumiko is probably, like, bi. But I don't think Reina has the feelings like that. She is, like, 100% like Taki-sensei. That is who I am into. But anyway, let's go to episode 12.
Episode 12. Okay. They all practice super hard for this big performance or something. I don't care. It's so fucking hot though. It's super fucking hot. And it's so hot that Golden can't read the music properly. Like they're like, "Hey, play this," and she's like, "I can't read all of a sudden. It's hard to read. It's hot."
Oh, that wasn't because of the heat.
Well, that's because of the that spoiler.
Anyway,
Okay, spoiler. Anyway, they're practicing the same bit over and over again. The silver euphonium plays it first, and then golden euphonium's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You've got to play it too." And she's like, "Oh, but I can't." It's the one little bit she can't play. And so she goes and practices by herself, and she practices over and over again, to the point of getting a nosebleed. Skipping over a lot of nothing, really. Golden goes back home and is like, "Oh man, this is all feels fraught. This feels for nothing." Because her sister's like, "Don't you dare fucking play that euphonium!" And it's revealed like she took over the euphonium from her sister because her sister had to do exams and stuff, and her mum was like, "This is your responsibility now." And she's like, "Oh, what is my relationship to this instrument? What is my relationship to playing? Do I actually even want to do this?" And she's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I want to do this." And they're like, "Can you shut that fucking euphonium up? Some of us are trying to sleep." And she still can't do it. She's practicing though. She's still practicing. Cut back to whole band practice, and nope, she still can't do it. Teacher basically just tells the other student to play it by herself. Which, because before the teacher was like, "Hey, can you play this?" And she was like, "Yes," and he was like, "Okay, let me rephrase this. If you can't play this, you're gonna let everyone down. Can you play this?" And she's like, "Yes, I can." And he's like, "Okay, well then fucking get it done." And she didn't get it done, so he didn't even bother asking her or anything. He just skipped over her. And she's like, "Oh, I'm depressed." So depressed, she leaves her phone at school. And she like is going out with friends and is quiet and depressed, and then is like, "I want to improve. I want to improve. I could kill myself. I want to improve." And is like, "I'm so sad I could die." And then she's like, "Wait a minute. Flashback to a previous episode. This is how Trumpet felt during something that we didn't watch but Spooky explained to us." And she's like, "I now know how it feels. I want to improve." And then Trombone just so happens to be walking across the street on the other side and is like, "What? You want to improve? But I want to improve." And she's like, "But I'm going to improve more." And he's like, "But I want to improve more." Because remember, he can't play his piece properly either. And she's like, "But I want to improve the mostest." Anyway, she goes back to the school and is like, "Hey, teacher, can I have my phone?" And he's like, "You better not have been using it in school."
Is he the Swedish chef?
And then he's like, pork. And then he's like, "Hey, by the way, I didn't forget that you said that you could perform the part, by the way. Don't think I didn't forget. Like, if you say you can, then you better. Like, I'm trusting you." And she's like, "Oh my god, I can do it. I can improve. I can improve." And then that's it.
And then she's like,
Yeah.
"I can't improve."
Bang.
Then you did talk about the fact that she called up Raina, and it led to a silly little moment of her being like, "Hi Raina,
I'll
I
be
called
honest.
you here late at night. What?"
I'll be honest, no, I didn't. I completely forgot to say that because my mind was like, "Hey, that was funny."
So there was this
Dear,
part...
shut up! It's my episode. It's my episode. Fuck off.
You're the one that forgot it and didn't even write it down.
Yeah, but then Spooky was like, "Hey, do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, I'll mention it." So there's a part after going to the phone where she calls up Trumpet and is like, "Hey, let's meet up real quick." And Trumpet's like, "Hey, what do you want to talk about?" And then Golden Euphonium is like, "So I was just with the teacher, who you have the hots for, by the way. and I was just with him by myself, and he and I were talking, and oh my god, is that a Euphonium plushie? And she goes to the fucking gachapon machine and like tries to get it, and the whole time Trumpet's like, finish what you were saying. What do you mean you were just by yourself with him? What happened? Euphonium, talk to me.
Yeah,
and she doesn't.
It's literally like
She's my what?
She's my what? Late at night. Yeah, it was like literally late at night, and she was like, yeah, I was with Taki-sensei up until now. Oh, look, a thing that I won. And Reina's like, what? Huh? What? Huh? What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so good. I love that little moment. But, yeah, which, the little Euphonium gacha thing was, like, a joke from the beginning of the show. They were like, Kumiko has Tuba-kun, and they were like, why do you have Tuba-kun? You don't play the tuba. And she's like, well, they don't make a fucking Euphonium. And then they released in their newest edition, like their newest line, the Euphonium. So that's a fun little callback. Man, yeah, a lot happens in this episode. The whole relationship with her Euphonium is really fun, and I like that it comes to light in this episode. So her sister actually played the trombone, and she was like, "Oh wow, that's cool! Like my sister plays an instrument, I want to play an instrument." And then when she joined like elementary school band, the only instrument that wasn't picked was the euphonium, so she kind of got stuck with it. And she was like, "Yep, I've just kind of been stuck with it ever since. But now that I'm in like this new school, I can like get a new instrument." Well, actually, at first she doesn't even want to join band, and then her friends are like, just come check out the band with us." I'm like, okay. And Asuka is like trying to recruit her into the bass section, and she's like, "No, I think I want to play something else." And she's like looking at the other instruments because she's like, "I'm not getting stuck with fucking euphonium again." It ends up slipping that she played euphonium for 7 years, and she ended up being stuck with the euphonium again. Because Kumiko early in the series is really bad at saying no to people. So, which is another reason why, like, in the last episode, when Reina was like, "Will you really, like, stick up for me and tell people I have to play the solo?" And Kumiko's like, probably. Because it's like, she's so kind of bad at sticking up, you know. Like, taking a stand against people. So she ends up, like, kind of being stuck with the euphonium, and she doesn't really love it until she starts getting closer to Reina and starts, like, having these goals, and, like, everyone starts, like, actually trying really hard to go for, like, nationals and stuff, and then, like, she's been trying really hard, and she, like, wants to improve really bad, and then it's, like, this episode, she's actually, like, no, I want to do this so badly because I like the euphonium, and that's the only reason I need. Like, I don't need another reason to try hard. I don't need, because like so many people around her, like her sister gave it up for entrance exams, and her friend quit for like the same thing, and she was like, "But that's stupid, I want to do this, like even though I don't want to like pursue it as a career, like I want to play, and I want to play well because it's something that I like." And then when she talks to Taki-sensei in the school, he realizes that, because he starts talking about how he ended up with his job, and, you know, Kumiko's like, "Well, did you want to do the same thing as your dad?" And he's like, "No, I never thought of it, but I ended up just liking it." And she's like, "Yeah, that's all you really need, right? Just to like it." And I think that's, like, kind of the moment when he realizes, like, no, she is taking this seriously. Prove me wrong by learning the part that you can't play. Which, I don't know. I think Taki-sensei's character is really interesting. I like his dynamic with the students a lot. But yeah, no, this show is like really the thing that was really hard about choosing 3 episodes with this is that it's so much just characters, right?
There's
and
so
it's
many
like
characters.
And not even that, it's just like there's so much where it's just like, here are, like, me watching an episode, I see a character's, like, face, like, their expression, and I'm like, oh, I can tell, you know, like basically what this character's, like, thinking. And even coming back to it now, because there's more than one season, there's a second season, after watching that, it's, like, it's even more so. Like, during the audition, whenever whenever short-haired trumpet's playing and it shows like Asuka's face, and then versus when Reina's playing and it shows Asuka's face, there's like a difference, right? And so much of this is just like getting to know the characters. So it's like, if you don't know the characters, you're not gonna give a fuck. Like, I've been rewatching this with Caleb, and Caleb was like, said perfect, like, he said it today. He was like, because we just finished it today, and he was like, you know, when we started this on episode 1, on the first few episodes, I was like, why am I gonna give a fuck about these, like, kids, like, these high schoolers in a fucking concert band? Like, nothing about it really, like, appealed to him. And then he was like, but, like, it made me really attached to them by the end in a really good way. And it's like, he wanted to see them, like, succeed. He was, like, interested in, like, their struggles. And it's like, I don't know, I get it. I think their struggles are pretty, like, realistic overall. I think that their feelings are, like, really good. Like Kumiko being like, I want to improve so bad, and I'm practicing all day and all night, and I still can't fucking improve, is, like, relatable. And yeah, I don't know, you just end up, like, really, like, learning what the characters are like. The only character you don't know what they're really like by the end of season 1 is Asuka. She gets focused on way more in season 2. That's Glass's Euphonium.
Okay.
She's, like,
Silver Euphonium.
Yeah. They're, like, they've mentioned a few times, like, throughout this, like, I can't pin what Asuka's thinking ever, because it's, like, she, like, puts on, like, a mask. And it's funny, too, because when we were watching in the commentary during that first episode, when you were like, yeah, no, if this was actually banned, like, they wouldn't give a fuck about this shit. It's funny, because literally in the next episode, like, Contrabass is feeling, like, sad because she's the one that pushed for Tuba to, like, confess to that dude. And obviously Tuba got turned down. So she's, like, kind of blaming herself or whatever. And she's, like, throwing off the music. And Asuka's like, hey, Tuba, can you, like, go... Or, sorry, no, Contrabass, can you, like, go get this shit for me? Like, real quick, sorry. And she's like, yeah. And she, like, leaves the room. And she's like, okay, what the fuck's wrong with her? Why is she playing... Like, what's going on? Is she okay? And they're like, they, like, explain the situation, and then Asuka's like, wow, I don't fucking care, I'm leaving, I'm playing alone, see you next time. And it's like, god damn, like, she's basically like, don't bring this fucking shit into band, like, fuck that, and just leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, hell yeah, let's go,
Asuka.
Yeah. And I like fucking love that, because it's like, I feel like that normally wouldn't happen, especially not with a character like Asuka, who's supposed to be like this spunky, caring upperclassman, but it's like, she doesn't really, like, during the scene with the auditions, whenever the president walks up to her and she's like, hey, do you want to, like, go hang out with our friend, the short-haired trumpet girl? She probably wants to talk to you right now. And Asuka's like, no, I can't. And she's like, yeah, you can, I'm telling you can. She's like, nah, okay, see ya, and, like, walks away. It's like, she doesn't really fucking care all that much, like, about issues like this. Like, she's literally just like, the best person should play. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want us to sound good. And her character, I don't know, her character is, like, really interesting. There's just a lot that I like about the show. Like, another thing I love that they do is there's not, like, one character who's, like, the quote-unquote, like, best in the band, and I feel like that normally happens in shows like this, too.
Yeah.
I would say there's 3 that are kind of like, which one's the best, and that's Reina, Asuka, and a character that you don't fucking see in season 1, like, at all. Like, it shows, like, one close-up of her face, I think. You get more of her, like, later on. But,
Was she the one where you couldn't see her eyes?
No. There was, like...
That character stood out to me. I was like, that's a weird, like, that's a very clearly developed character.
She's not at all, actually. That's just a character. She has, like...
Well, I mean, like, thought was put into her design.
Yeah.
Like, she's not a background character.
That's the thing. A lot of the background characters, like, do actually have nice designs. It's kind of surprising. Like,
what's her name?
And she's one of them. Who? The one with the hair covering her eyes? She's not even named.
Deborah!
No. The third best player.
Oh, Mizore.
Deborah!
We'll get to her. Don't worry, because we're gonna watch more Hibike.
Oh, for crying out loud.
We're gonna be watching a couple more Hibike things. We're probably watching season 2 like next time we watch.
What did I do to deserve this?
Listen, it's fine. It's a hard series to pick episodes for because of just the type of series it is.
You
but-
ever just walk through hell only to turn around and walk back in?
I mean, my thing is, like, I can recognize it as good. Like, I get it. Everything you're saying, I'm like, yep, I see it. It's good. But I'm just like, but I just don't
I mean,
care.
again, yes, it's because it's this thing that you cannot be given 3 episodes and then care about a character. That's just
it's
thing
hard.
Well,
for
it's
you.
not even. When I say I don't even care, what I mean is, like, normally there's, like, inklings of, like, man, I really want to know more about this character. Like, I wish we could have gone back and looked at it, or like, oh, I want to go back in my own time and look at it. But it's like all of the characters, I'm just like, I get it. I get what it is. I get that it's good. I see what's there. Like, in my mind, it's like, yep, this is good. But I'm also just like, but I just don't care. Like, it's like,
I think this is
like, in my mind, it's like, theoretically, this would be good. But, like, in the rest of my mind is just like, yeah, but I'm not really connecting with any of it. So I'm like, it's good, but not for me.
Should we just get the
and I think
scores
this
at
is where
point?
the... Huh?
I said, should we just get the scores at this point?
Well, I was gonna say, I think this is kind of where I mentioned before the divide happens with me and Gamb, where it's like, we both like, we have like this weird like overlap where it's like, here are the section of things we both really like. And then I think Gamb falls more to the plot side and I fall more to the character side. And I think this is like the perfect example of a series that does that, where it's like...
I think the thing for me, though, is just like, I do like the sort of character relationships in this, but it just feels so... I don't know how to describe it, other than, like... It just feels so, like, repellent to me. It's like, I really like this bit, like you're saying, it's like, there are these very specific relationships, and they are the kind of relationships that you don't tend to get in a lot of narrative. Some of them are, they're cookie cutter, sort of, yep, this is this character, this is this character. But a lot of them, it's like, the relationships are vastly different. But to me, it's just like, okay, but I really don't give a shit about, like, it just feels like, it still feels just like, okay, this is just the same shit. This is just the same sort of...
See, and I disagree, like, 1010%. They feel
and it's like,
a million times different to me.
And that's the thing, is like, I can recognize it's completely different, and I know it is, but I still just am like, I feel the exact same way about this, that the exact same way I feel about, like, oh god, what was that other one? Like March Comes in Like a Lion. Like, I feel the exact same way. I'm like, I get it, it's good, I don't give a shit. Like, I can see a lot that I actually like individual bits of, but I don't want to watch the whole to watch it.
See, and both of them are ones where it's, like, hard to pick because it's, like, so it's so much about character development, right? So it kind of, like, runs into that wall with both. Because the character development in the show is, like, fucking crazy. And that's the part that, like, really draws me to it. But it's like, I can't show you that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't pick 3 episodes and show you that. It was funny, too. I was talking to one of my friends, and when I said we were doing Hibike for the podcast, he was like, don't you only pick 3 episodes for that? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I feel like picking just 3 episodes of Hibike in any way, like, fucking brings down the quality of the show so fucking much. And I was like, I agree. It's gonna be really hard, like, to pick things, because it's like... that's what it depends on, and it like depends on you like really getting to know the characters. Like Kumiko.
I think my problem though. I was just gonna say, I think my problem though is just like, it doesn't matter how many episodes of this. Like, if we watch the first 3 in order, there still wouldn't be anything for me to hook into and be like, okay, you know what? This interests me. I would feel the exact same way. I would feel like, okay, I can see where this is going. I can see it's good. I'm good though.
Interesting. Yeah, see, and I think that's where, because, like, the character development's what instantly hooks me in. Like, Kumiko is so, like, dynamic for a main character, especially in a series like this. Like, Kumiko is, like, one of my favorite protagonists in all anime, period. I love Kumiko. And she just has, like, so much depth to her. And you don't see a lot of the depth, like, with what I showed. I mean, you see some of it. I showed, like, some big moments with her. I showed mostly her, like, relationship with Reina and stuff. But, like, Hibike literally has, like, some of my favorite moments in anime, period. And like I said, I really, really want to be able to give, like, the season a 10. And I can't, just because, like, there are some consistency issues. Like, with the festival episode, it's like, I don't really care too much about Tuba Girl's fucking feelings. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, whatever. And there are, like, a couple episodes that are, like, slower, where it's, like, I think every episode is, like, really good, but there are some that are just really good, and some that are, like, great. And it's, like, the great ones are, like, I wish I could give this a 10. Or there will be, like, episodes where it's, like, half of it is, like, a 10 out of 10, and the other half is, like an 8. You know what I mean? So I can't bring myself to give it a 10, even though it has, like, some of my favorite characters in anime. And, like, just some, like, scenes that, like, really fucking stick with me. And, it, like, the shows, like, influence, like, my art and shit a lot, too. Yeah, I don't know. But it's, like, 100% character development. That's the show. It's 1,000% that only that. Like, their improvement with band, like, the whole storyline, like, with their band, is, like, a reflection of the characters, too. Like,
yeah.
So that's what it is. You know, it's like, here are these characters, here you will watch their story, and you will see them grow, and you will get to know them. So, that's what it is, like, through and through.
I kind of like this show. That's all I have to say.
Do we want to do scores now?
I put a 6 to a 7.
Okay.
It's not my thing, but I absolutely agree with you on, like, the characters and stuff and the story and, like, the fact that it's interesting, but the fact that it's, like, banned, I'm just kind of like, eh. Whereas, weirdly, I loved watching, for example, Food Wars, literally only because it was about food. So
right.
So
right.
it's all up in the air.
Anyway. Gamb, what would you give it?
I'd probably, basing off our whole discussion and everything, I'd say probably a 4.
4?
Like, not as in, like, indicative of the quality, but more indicative of, like, whether I would go back and rewatch it, etc. How much I enjoyed it. Purely because it's like, I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't feel insulted. I didn't feel bored. I just didn't connect with it. And it's like, maybe if I did watch all of it, I would feel a better connection, but, like, I really don't want to go back and watch all of it. Because, like, I'm like, I have better things that I want to go and watch. I have more important things to, like, that are higher on my list. Like, if I had to put this on, like, the list of things that I have to go back and watch, this would probably be in, like, the 100 era of, like, there are other things that I'd more importantly want to go back and watch all of. Okay. Like, so yeah, I wouldn't feel like if like I went to visit Spooky or whatever for like 2 weeks and Spooky was like, hey, we're gonna watch all of this, I'd be like, okay, sure. Like, this is an opportunity to watch it, and like I'm not having to sacrifice, like, oh well, if Spooky was like, we could watch this or we could watch this, I wouldn't choose this. Like, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna make Gamb come visit me, and I'm gonna make him watch all of Hibike and all of March Comes With Like Alliance so he can see what I mean.
But we gotta watch all of... we gotta watch all of Monogatari.
Yeah, Gamb and I talked about if we did... We jokingly talked about if we did... Monogatari year, where we did, and I want to clarify by saying first, this was 100% not happening from the get-go, we were just joking, but we were saying if we recorded, Gamb was like, yeah, we'll just record every week, and every other week will be Monogatari. So we'll watch it 3 episodes 2 times a week. So we'll just have like
26.
a year. Yeah, and I was like, Gamb, how many episodes would that be? And he told me, and I was like, Gamb, it would take more
78.
than a year. It would take more than a year.
That would be 78 episodes we'd watch in a year.
Yeah, and it would take
Speaky
longer.
was like, there are more than that.
Yeah, there are more than that.
It would take a year and a half.
So that was funny. Yeah, so yeah, just come, we'll binge watch that. That'll be fine. And then we'll also just watch, listen, March Comes Like a Lion is in my top fucking 5. It's so good. I would have you watch that.
I will say, March Comes Like a Lion, I think I liked more than this because it is more
I think you gave it like a 9.
focused on a singular... I think I liked it more because it was more focused. I think part of my problem with this one is that there are so many characters. And this, I will absolutely say, is purely down to the format of the podcast. Is like, it was very hard to keep track of who was who and
definitely.
who was talking to who. Be like, wait, who is this character again? And it's like, they all have different hairstyles, which I was like, oh, great, this is going to be easy to remember who is who.
And then there's like a million.
But there's so many characters that it's like, fuck, I cannot remember who this is. And then it's like,
and the
that's
show
why, like,
does, like,
in the commentary, Deer and I, like, synchronized, like, what we were calling things. It was like, I could not handle hearing 3 different names for one character.
Yeah. No, yeah, then that's, like, a big thing. It, like, juggles a lot of characters well, because it doesn't try to make all of the main characters. Like, short-haired trumpet girl has, like, her arc, and her arc really builds Reina more than anything, which is the audition arc that we saw parts of. But she's, like, not a main character by any means. She has good moments. She's, like, a good character, but, like, you can tell which ones are supposed to be, like... I should say, when you watch the whole thing. Like, when you're actually watching the show, you can tell, like, here are the ones that they're, like, supposed to be in the spotlight, and here are the ones that are, like, still important, but, like, not as important. And they do a really good job of juggling that. Like, they don't try to make everyone main characters. But yeah, definitely just watching a few episodes, it's, like, impossible to keep track of everyone. Especially when they do things like, hey, look, this, like, secondary character is the focus, and you guys don't know that it's like, oh, this is actually building, like, these other characters, right? Like, short-haired trumpet girl really builds up Reina and Asuka, and it's like, you wouldn't know that because you haven't seen the build-up.
Yeah.
So, I wanted so badly to show you guys the last episode, and I was like, it won't matter to them. It won't matter to them, because it's, like, basically, like, here's our hard work from the whole series coming together.
It's all built up to
this.
this.
And I was like, it literally
Whereas,
won't matter.
Like, we would have, we'd be like, oh, cool, that was cool,
I would be, like, crying,
I
like, fucking emotional, and you guys would be like, okay, they're playing instruments, like... So I couldn't do that, sadly. It's a really good
Why
episode,
is that
though.
girl screaming into a trumpet?
Yeah. Oh, shit. But yeah, like I said, we're probably just doing season 2 next time.
Not next week. Dear God, no, not next time.
Yeah, literally next time, because there's another thing that I have planned, so...
Let's go!
Oh God,
Yay!
that terrifies me even more.
Let's go!
Woo, more band! Next time it'll probably focus more on Asuka than Reina! Yay!
Woo!
See you guys!
I forgot who those 2
Bye.
characters are. See you next week. Futurama.